needy.
That's a bit needy. How much better can you be with just like me? You're gonna make me cry.
I love it. I really love that energy that you
Love
bring
OnlyFans. I'm like running around.
Oh,
She's
my
like,
God,
she's
she
perfect. My eyes are like consistently leaking and I don't know what. Hi guys, welcome back to Dream on Pod with me, your host Lottie Ross, and today I have the creator essentially of this podcast because she created me, my mother. So Inga, welcome on. Are you proud of me in this podcast?
I am proud of you, full stop.
Aww.
100%.
No, you're going to make me cry.
I know. No, I'm super proud of you. You have done the whole...
Why am I already crying? I
don't
thought I was
know.
going to cry in this podcast.
But you have had that sort of... I remember, you see, when you started this whole thing when you were about 16. And then
started this podcast.
No, not podcast, but I'm talking about the journey of you.
My career.
Which was you getting too much without any sort of background for it. And I remember then thinking, oh, I wish she'd had a few sort of hiccups, to say it now.
I got everything
too easy.
kind of too easy, yeah.
And therefore you didn't know how to handle it, and it all went very,
south,
as you know. But the nice thing is that now that you have gone through those years of, digesting that, and now you are so good.
Really?
Yes, because
I've been through some hardships.
So real now, and yes, but you kind of you don't seem to carry that too loud. I think it used to be very present.
What?
Being around you, that you had, that you went through all of that.
That I had a lot of trauma, basically.
Oh, lots and lots. And at times you were not necessarily the nicest person to be around. So
what? I'm shocked.
No, but I think, it's all shown.
No, I think for a moment I'd been through a lot and I just didn't really know how to handle it. I also felt like, and I feel like a lot of people feel like this, it's like, oh my God, this is so unfair. Why is this all happening to me?
Mm.
And now I've gotten to the point where I'm like, that all happened for a reason. Like that needed to happen almost so that I could become who I needed to be.
But it's quite nice that has happened in sort of in the bigger perspective. That has happened quite early in your life.
Really? Do you think so?
If you were in your 30s, you could have been way more established and stumble into marriage, had some children. It's a lot of things that could have been damaged more, and the consequences would have been more severe. And I think you now have the ability to build up and still being young. I mean, like with this, which is, growing and it's successful, and you're doing other things and it's successful, and you can.
Sorry about the language barrier, you guys. My mum is not from this country.
You deal with it. I mean, you're living it now. You are that person. So it's not like...
But I think, did you not have that thing when you were 26, 27 that I've just had? It's called a Saturn return or something. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of this. Where it's when you turn 20, 25, sort of 26, 27, something just your frontal lobe just kind of develops. Do you know what I mean? Have you had that? Did you not have that when you were 26?
There's no development.
No, there was no development. Well, you did get divorced at 27.
Well, 26. So
26.
I
exactly.
had a completely different life to you. But I also...
So yeah, for a bit of context, because I want you to be able to tell your story a little bit on here as well. So my mum is Norwegian. She's from Norway. And... yeah, I mean, you can take it away from there, really. We'll do a little, in a nutshell, kind of your background and stuff like that. Because it is very interesting, your story, I think. I mean, to me, it's very interesting because you're my mum, but...
It's born in the 60s, grown up in the 60s, 70s, very easy time to grow up, and especially in Norway. I mean, everything was... it was nothing dramatic as such. But I got married very early and I got divorced very early, and I luckily we didn't have any children, and it was not dramatic divorce either. But I am...
Why did you guys get divorced? Just for the people?
No, because I think that I'm not good.
Because you're one of the reasons that I am not like worried. Like I think a lot of people get to my age and they're like, oh my God, I need to get married, I need to have kids. And like in a sense, sometimes I do have those like panics of like, oh my God, is it never going to happen for me? But but like I think you one of the reasons why I'm so glad I didn't get married young. Like you'd always really implemented that into me. Like don't get married young. Don't be like 21 getting married, because you change so much. And now that I am nearer to 30 than I am 20 or 18 or whatever, I'm like, oh my God, you're so right. If I'd married any of the guys that I have been with before this year, like I would be like, what? Like it's insane. Like there's just no way that it would have worked out with any of them.
No.
Like I'm so different to all of them. They're so different to me. Like it's just so bizarre. So I can't even imagine like getting married at young age as you did.
That would have been a very bad decision if you had married.
I know, because I feel like Guide, bless him, Guide. Shout out my mum's first husband, Guide.
No, but the thing is that
he's a nice guy.
Oh my gosh, he was.
I mean, he's all right. We love Guy.
We didn't have. There was no such thing as. It wasn't anything wrong. It was just too young.
Yeah.
Too young. And also, then I am very similar to you there, without sort of. Putting a diagnose on where we are, but
yeah, me and you are super.
This
similar.
thing of
That's
being
my questions. Do you think we're similar or do you think we're different? I think we're like literally the same person.
Yeah,
like it's actually beyond. Like you always say that you like when you were younger you were just like me.
No, and one of the things was exactly that I did not think about consequences, just like you. You do not think. You say yes, you do. There and then without the consequences. And also that was part of how I lived my life, which I thought was a bad thing, because it was the wrong thing to do according to how the society wanted people to live. They wanted you to get married, then they wanted you to have children, and then they wanted you to have your mortgage, and then they wanted you to work in the same place.
Still very, do you think, like in terms of like gender roles, do you think it was still very like the women, the like stay at home and cook and clean?
Not so bad in all. I mean, we were ahead a bit in Norway in the 60s already.
Yeah,
we started,
really?
So we were even.
Jesus Christ, because that was like in the 50s. That was full swing.
Yeah,
Housewife,
no, 60s.
You know what I mean?
We were.
I've seen Mad Men, and I know what happened. No.
Okay. No, so we were strong as women. Really, we were really, quite sort of into that movement.
Yeah.
But I think that what I thought, I never managed to do that stay. I always sort of drifted and then did a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And actually now found that it never punished me. It always, and it wasn't. So it didn't have the bad consequences that people wanted it to have if you did that. And I have done so many different things. I've had such a great life.
Had so many different like experiences.
Oh, so much. And for me as a person who never wanted to become, anything sort of up there, I have always been happy doing. But then, like you do it for a while and then I get bored. And then I go to the next thing and then I got bored. But
were you like in love when you got married though? Would you say?
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
It really is hard to say because of when I think back on...
Because you have different types of loves in your life.
Oh, no, you do. You do. No, he was somebody that I'd known. He was a friend of my brother. My brother was his best man when we got married. And he'd been around in this sort of a friend circle for a few years, so I knew him. He was a really nice guy. So it was more...
So obviously I married him.
No, it was, he picked me up from
sort of... that though? Was it like...
I was in love with one boy that dumped me and then...
Oh my God, do you remember we always speak about this guy that dumped my mum?
No, it wasn't him. No.
There was another guy that dumped my mum for this girl and we always talk about him.
A lot of boys dumped me, actually.
A lot of boys dumped me, actually.
Yeah, I know.
God.
Why?
Why? What's wrong with us? We're so stunning and beautiful and talented.
We're lucky.
Yeah. Do you know what, though? Yeah, they don't deserve us, those ones.
No. Good.
Because then, look,
good
all
riddance.
Those boys dumped you, but then you ended up with my dad, who's absolutely amazing, and you're still married to this day. 28 years down the line.
I know.
My eyes are like consistently leaking and I don't know what.
Oh, sweetheart, that is so cute. I feel that my life have been privileged in the way I have lived it and the people I met. I have had my fair share of hard, the hard bits.
Yeah.
But in general, I believe that all of that has also,
paid off.
Well, it's just part of the whole structure, So,
yeah. It's so weird interviewing you because I'm just like, you're my mum. Like, But what was it like growing up in Norway? Like, obviously, we've kind of touched on it a little bit, but like, what was Norway like as a place to grow up in? Was it nice?
Oh, it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Norway is a big country with very few people.
Yeah, because people don't know about Norway. Like, people don't get the vibes there.
I think...
Like, because people don't really travel there. So and there's only 5 million people there. And me and my mum are just like the biggest advocates for Norway because we love it there and we just think it's like the coolest country. And everyone.
But you also have to remember that we are almost like Europe in a way, because Norway from the north to the south, if you tip the country down, the north bit will end up in Rome. So we are a very, very geographically long country. So therefore, the type of people living
just don't have a lot of people there.
No, but they're spread out. So we have people,
It's so funny. It's one of like the only places I've ever been to where it's like, it is so weird when you look at it like there's like there'll be like 5 houses and there's like huge bit of land. There's like literally it's just so spread out. They've just got so much room.
No, when it was the pandemic and there's in Norway it was like 2 meters apart. They were just like, and do we have to go from 4 meters and closer?
Yeah.
2 meters is not.
People in Norway aren't like that.
No,
do you know what I mean?
Like to be too near
it's not, yeah, no one's like that.
But anyway,
also, no one has to be that close to each other.
It was a lovely. It was a good country to grow up in. Very good. It's a good.
Honestly,
country to live
go
in.
there now. Like when we went, me and my mum will go back sometimes. We'll go and have a little holiday, and go and visit family and stuff. And we went back, and I thought, oh my god, this is such a nice place to raise kids. So nice. We went to. Do you remember we went to? Where did we go? This sort of little beach area thing. Do you remember? And there were these kids playing, and they'd been taken sort of on a school trip or something.
Yeah.
And they were playing, and I just thought, God, like it's almost like 50 years ago in a weird way because they are very outdoorsy people, Norwegian people. Like they don't sit. There's no like. I mean, obviously people play video games and stuff like that, but it's very outdoorsy, and people want to be outside because it's a beautiful country. Like it's not. It doesn't feel like it's on Earth because there's like the sea looks so beautiful. There's no like
you're a little bit sort of tinted glasses you
string,
have. I mean,
like,
it's not that perfect,
no,
but it is.
I mean, Oslo.
But the one thing which is nice about it when we were there as well is that primary school walk to school on their own.
Yeah.
It's not the same as here.
Oh hell no!
We walk children to school until they're about 12.
Let your child walk to school for primary school here, the social services would call you up and go, "Are you okay?"
Well, it's more they're much more independent, than
But there's also just like not that much crime going. Is there crime in Norway really?
Of course it is, Charlotte.
But like how much? How much really? With the 5 million people there, like there's 3.
You're a little bit sort of. It's not.
I think I have my rose.
Yes, it's not quite that sort of.
It's literally the most perfect.
It's not. But it was a good country to grow up in. It's a good country to live in.
Why did you decide to move away from Norway?
Daddy. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because were you living here when you were living here?
I came over. I was working in travel, so I was working for this agency in Norway, and then which had an office in Trafalgar Square in Norway House, and there was a position there for sort of a 1 year. So I went over to do my year there, and during that time I met your dad.
Yeah, because you worked in the same office, didn't you?
No, we didn't. He worked for a Norwegian airline.
A Norwegian airline? Not Norwegian Airlines?
No.
Oh, okay.
Didn't exist then. So then, and then...
How did you guys
11
meet?
months after we started to
go
out
in the same building.
No, he just came as a representative of so because it was a Norwegian airline, we were a Norwegian travel agency who dealt with Norwegian people and companies in London.
Okay.
So he and then less than a year later we were married.
Oh my god.
No.
She just got a hitch, didn't you? You just got like that. Do you not think it was a little bit quick getting married? Like,
no, I mean, this is the thing.
that is quite quick.
To get married when I was 22, that was years too quick. But when you're 33, I was 33, I was 34 when I
just found the first available man.
Literally.
You were panicking. You were like, oh my God.
Chain myself to him, I did, go nowhere.
You saw your egg count.
You
looked up
with
your egg
me,
count,
mate.
and then you looked up and you saw him and you went, all right, I'll take him.
You with me. Yes. So,
no, Dad was lovely though, wasn't he?
He was lovely.
How was your first day with Dad?
So, no, then. So this was Christmas time, and he did an event that I was invited to, sort of a lunch, and then our agency had an event where they came and got some drinks in the office, and then we went to see the Norwegian Christmas tree. They turned on the Christmas tree in London, in Trafalgar Square, and then 5 bottles of wine later, hey ho.
Hey ho, yeah.
No.
Leave it at that.
No. I walked with him to the station. He took the train.
But what about your first official date? Do you remember?
He was hard. God, he was late. He was incredibly late because he had locked himself out of the car or God knows what. So I was, that was not very successful. But but he was a nice guy.
You were desperate,
So there I was, I was just like, nice try, mate, but no.
You're not getting away from me.
So he was very special. He's a very special guy. One, he was quite early. Having said that, he was that much older than me, so he had more experience in relationships and stuff like that, I suppose. And he just made it quite clear quite early that he didn't want to have this sort of call me or not calling or waiting,
Oh my God.
Yeah, so he put that on the table quite straight.
All men like in this
He
world.
was very nice about it. He just said, if we date, it doesn't really matter where we're going, but if we're going to date, then we do that sort of straight. It's not we don't want all that. So I found him very refreshing in that. But plus that he had been then single dad for a while, and so he was he was a good boy.
Yeah. Dad is the best guy ever. And I really struggle in finding guys who are like even. I don't think I've ever met a guy who is even remotely ever compared to my dad, because my dad is such a brilliant, like, lovely man, like, and he's just taking care of me and you, even though me and you have been definitely I mean, he's been put through the ringer, Dad, bless him. Like, I've been a nightmare, and then Mum was a nightmare, and then it was just like...
I went through menopause, and that's a different thing. I was never a nightmare. I went through menopause. Trust me.
Those two can be right at the same time. Do you know what I mean? Two things can be right at the same time.
Not a personality.
I know. And we'll get on to that as well, because I think menopause is something I really want to highlight and speak about on this podcast, because I like speaking to, obviously, many different people about many different things. I think menopause is something that is just so not spoken about. And when you got... I was going to say diagnosed, but I mean, when it happened to you, yes. When you got diagnosed with the menopause, when it happened to you, it was so severe, and they didn't know what it was at the time, the doctors or anything, and it was such a like confusing time for you, especially, and me and Dad, because we were like this lovely woman who we knew, like, kind of just like it was just not you at the time, and it was so...
Oh, it was not me.
Not you at
10
all.
10 years, I was not me.
But I remember there were moments, like, when I was younger and stuff like that, where I almost just, like, didn't, like, feel like it was you at all.
No.
And it was hard for me because I was really young, and so were you. You were... How old were you when you...
So I was... first appointment I had with a doctor because I was, I was in my 40s. But so as far as I can remember, quite early in my 40s. So I was very early, and that is why
normally doesn't happen. That's really early.
That's very early, but that was also why I had a male doctor, and of course, being that young and the sort of the lead up to menopausal stage is not you don't have the signs that you expect to have, which comes later, which is you lose your period and you have the hot flushes. That is sort of the two things, that two sort of hooks that they want you to, you know. And I didn't. So he just sort of, well, then it isn't, and then brushed me off. So I think that it's much, much better now. I think that they're more aware of it is not like an A4.
Yeah, it's not. There's not one.
Everybody experiences it differently and different age, and it can last long or short or whatever. It can't. And what sort of really gets to me was that they did. You have doctors who educates themselves on different specialities. One is a surgeon or one is whatever. And there is nobody who is specializing in menopause, considering that every single woman in the world
gets it. Yeah. But this is again, I mean, do you know what I mean? Man's world. Like it is so disappointing. Like, and I have actually heard like some interviews of people speaking about, like, there is just no research on menopause. There is no, like, people just don't give a damn. It's like, what?
They do now. I think that they started now, yeah.
Now, but like, it is so sad for you because it really did, like, I think like you lost.
It took 10 years. It took 10 years in my life.
You lost a piece of yourself. Like,
and you have to remember that before me, as my mum said, then her generation back, they ended up in in a psychiatric ward. Yes, exactly. And all the marriages that was ruined, all the it was the consequences like, so severe.
You're so lucky with Dad that he was so patient, because honestly, that for a lot of men, that could have been the end.
And I have no idea why.
I have neither.
No, I really don't.
I love you so much, but honestly, neither do I. Like, and like, this is just like such a testament to like how much my dad loves you.
Yes, it is.
How much of an amazing person he is.
Yeah.
But because at the same time he was dealing, he was also dealing with me being like 13 years old, and I was an absolute nightmare. Actually, I was a bit older though, wasn't it? No, I was younger. And then and then I was trouble when I was 13, and you were.
But can you imagine if you wake up pretty much for 10 years, you wake up every morning and you are just not you.
But how do you feel? Like, what is it?
You just wake up like in a black room. It's just like you don't recognize yourself anymore. You just don't understand who this person is.
I'm actually dreading it. I'm actually dreading.
No, but I think this is the thing: is that in one way you want to put it out how bad it can be. And I have friends who went through equally bad, and others who doesn't. So it's like childbirth. It can be a breeze, and it can be pretty much not a breeze.
Yeah.
So it's the main thing is that we have people that we can turn to, and I think that when I went through menopause, and I think, like, nobody talked about it here. Yeah, nobody.
It's just like talking about it with people and not feeling like ashamed of it, because it does happen to like every woman. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but women are supposed to take that as well as everything else. We're supposed to just take it and grin and bear it, and it's
a nice little present at the end of the period, isn't it? It's like we know that you've been having your period for the last however long. Here's a final slam dunk into like hell.
However, when you come out, life's never been better.
Really?
Yeah. And that is the best thing, because now when you're younger, you struggle with all your mental issues or relationships or whatever you do. Now, after the menopause, I found myself. Yeah. And I really like this girl. I really like her. Yes. And I'm so
I feel the same at the moment, actually.
Yeah.
It's good. And I think that's why we're getting along so well, because we haven't always had the easiest relationship, I think.
No, but Charlotte, that was between you would... 12 till 16 was the worst.
Hey. I was an absolute menace.
Our neighbour was like, so she was screaming.
Because I've got like questions here that I do actually want to like know, and I want to ask you. Because this feels a bit like we're like almost getting to know each other again.
Oh.
What was I like as a kid? Do you have any funny or embarrassing stories about me?
How you were as a kid? You have to also remember that a lot of things is sort of just grayed out because of my menopause. But
She doesn't remember.
No, but you were just like my mum said to me that when I was, a little toddler and a little child, I went through the wall. So if I wanted something, I would just go for it, unstoppable. And you were exactly the same.
I still am. Yeah.
Yes.
I still am. Yeah.
Which is, I think
Very
that is
stubborn.
something that should really be encouraged. I think it's really good.
Yeah, but it's got me somewhere, hasn't it?
See what I mean? Anyway, so you were lovely, but you didn't have time to sit and cuddle too much when you were little. This came sort of later, more
things to do, places to be.
Do you see what I mean? And you were kind of funny in your and a new personality for me to get to know about.
Because it is weird when you have kids, and like I'm only seeing this now because my friends have kids. But like at first, like no offense, but they're a blob. Like when you first have them, they don't have a personality for a bit. Do you know what I mean? Because they're just like all they do is just like sleep and eat, and like kind of just like shit. And that's
but
like
you have different responsibilities.
Then they start to like get the personality, and you're like, whoa, like this.
But this is the thing, and you don't know what you're doing as a mother. So, and you have different responsibility at different times in your life. So when you are a blob, you need to feed and keep you safe.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. Then the older you get, the more responsibility you have to prepare you for living in this, relationship with people. I remember you wanted to have somebody sleep over.
Oh, I love to sleep over.
Yes, you did, until the next morning when you woke up with that person, because then you wanted them out of the house. So I had to go through.
You're like that with one night stands.
No, I know. See what I mean? No, so this was the thing that I had to sit there. So then, but the good thing was that
I'm actually still like that, honestly.
No, but I could then say to you, Charlotte, it's absolutely fine. You can have somebody sleep over, but you do have to remember that you have to be nice to them next morning and play with them as well. And then sometimes you were like, oh yeah, no.
I actually that's so funny because I don't even remember being like that. But like when you say it now, like it makes sense.
That is
because even like when I have my girlfriend sleep over, I'll wake up and be like, right, okay, go and do your day, and I'll do mine now.
Exactly.
Like. Do you know what I mean? Off you go.
No, but that is your ADHD because you cannot.
I'm like hyper focused, and then I'm
yes,
bored.
and then you have you have no vision of consequences. You cannot feel what it's going to be, and the next day or in with time. So in many ways, I wish I knew. I wish you were diagnosed then.
I really wish I was diagnosed earlier with ADHD because actually, like, it's so funny. I feel like, did you not have a hunch that there was something up with me when I was younger?
No, because I didn't know who to compare you with. You have to remember that I grew up in madness.
Yeah.
So I just knew of mad people.
But I also just you were mad. So I think
this is another thing that you are incredibly like me.
Yeah.
So why would I question that? I thought you were a perfect specimen.
You were like, I'm like running around. She's perfect.
How much better can you be with just like me? Huh?
Yeah, because I remember like when I used to leave people's houses as well. If I had to leave someone's house and I didn't, maybe this is just me being stubborn. Maybe this isn't my ADHD, but like I remember like when I used to have to leave people's houses and I'd hide from you.
Oh no, you!
I never wanted to leave.
Once you had sleepover with some other kids, and we went to Sheffield Park, and I was going to meet you there, and I was so excited because I hadn't seen you overnight and everything. And then I come there really, and you start to cry, and you were just like, no.
So go away.
Little bit rejection.
Was it? Did you feel like rejection?
Oh my gosh! Yes.
Do you remember that one time when you cut your hair? And so my mum used to have longer hair. And I mean, it is long now, but you used to have like
super short.
So she went super short, and I'm talking like, as in like, I mean, what do you call the cut that you had? It was like Jamie Lee Curtis. You know, what I mean, it was
a short cut.
Short.
Number two.
Number two. Yeah, literally.
No.
But it was like, it was like, there was no like.
No, but you didn't like change, Charlotte.
And
I
showed up, and my mum had cut all her hair off, and I just burst out crying. I hated it. I hate it.
Hated it.
I love that kids have just no filter.
So you had, but this was a lot of how you were, and it was hard at times.
I didn't like change.
Exactly.
I didn't like change.
But you also, because of your lack of sort of thoughts of everything had to happen that you want if you wanted something.
Yeah,
for
and
instance,
I had to have it
you wanted it then
and there, yeah.
And then if next day you were over it.
Yeah.
And if I then said to you, but Charlotte, you got it yesterday, so you couldn't, that didn't click with you, then it was, everything was there and then.
It's strange, isn't it? I'm a strange old egg.
No, it was, in many ways, but also, of course,
I think now as well, we did argue all the time. I think now as well, there's more resources and things like that in order to find that people talk more now with social media and things like that. So it is more, you see, like, as in I've seen like recently, like I saw this couple on TikTok that had just diagnosed their kid with ADHD, and the kid's like 3. Like they just already know. So it's, I think you just know earlier now because you know what to look for. Like, but back then you just didn't.
Charlotte, when I talked to, I have a friend who was a TA then, and everybody from the school would say that you were just a perfect pupil. You were the nicest and most polite.
You hear that?
So you did all of that. However, which I wish I'd known was that
women are very good.
But do you remember with maths,
hiding their ADHD?
When you had maths, you would cry your eyes out because and you would do the whole thing that they now say, oh, I'm the only one who can't do it. I'm the most stupid child in the class and I can't do it. So it was certain things that I could have picked up on then. But because
I was catastrophic at maths.
And then ADHD, it was new as it was then. It wasn't sort of something that it was, we were familiar with.
But they say it's harder. They say it's harder to diagnose women with it, especially when they're younger.
No, because
because boys are so obvious with it. Boys can't hide things. Like women, we are taught from a young age, kind of to like,
I don't think
to be more well behaved.
I don't think it is because you're taught to when it comes to that. I just think that girls just react differently. Yes.
Yeah. But
the problem with the girls, because they then know. We know it later now, is that it sort of comes out in this thing, as you said, I'm different, I am stupid, I am, not like other children. And then they come into their teens, and then you have eating disorders, you have drugs, you have alcohol, you have self-harming, you have a lot of consequences for this feeling of not belonging or not being able to achieve.
I definitely felt like that when I was younger. I really didn't feel that I could learn in like the same way that all these other kids could learn.
Exactly.
I just didn't get it. I didn't get how they sat there, read a textbook, or even like learned stuff. If I wasn't interested in it, which I wasn't, like who is, let's be honest, but like all these kids that even weren't interested still learn. I couldn't learn it. I was like, I don't care, so I'm not gonna, it's not going in my brain.
No. And you're a very intelligent girl, and this is the interesting thing.
Yes. What was your proudest moments while raising me?
While raising you?
Yeah, what were your proudest moments?
My proudest moments,
I know it's hard to pick only a few, but we do have a time limit,
I've always been proud of you for many things, but I think that now. I think who you turn out to be, how you have managed to, because you have done most of this journey yourself. I feel that you have done that yourself. You haven't really been leaning on us or anybody. You really have worked your way through this. I'm very, very proud of you now for the how you came out of it, and where you are now. And are there any like specific moments though where you're like, damn, that's a bit needy?
Oh, sorry. That's a bit needy.
No, do you want to see specifics? I just
the way you just said I haven't lent on you my whole life, and then now I ask one question. Go away. We wonder why I'm not lent on you. Okay. Because you told me to fuck off the minute I have.
Well, no, specific situation. I have to think.
Vogue, I reckon you were proud of me.
I was, but you see, the thing is that in hindsight, when I think about all this, I was proud of you when you did all these model things. However, knowing now that you were not
so
happy,
miserable,
and it wasn't really you who
Vogue,
wanted it.
I wasn't unhappy, but I just think
my gosh, you did a lot of things, Charlotte.
But I just think it wasn't me, and I just like I was so not at that time. I think now looking back, I realize like my decline of my mental health started very early, and like it's something that I work on every day. Like active thing in my brain that I have to work on every day, like not to feel a certain way, and in order to just like survive, like because I could easily slip back into being depressed, easily. But it's so like that's why it's so not linear. But back then I didn't have the tools, nor did I like understand what my brain was like, and so it was just a weird one. I was just like not me there.
But that is why I would say that rather than those front covers and all of the things you did then, I would say that I'm really proud of you now.
Hey,
of
Netflix.
This.
You're proud of Netflix. Hey.
And Bear Grylls. I mean, that show. I mean, things like that.
I think when you
because
watch
I know
it, you're
you doing that.
Proud because genuinely, I went through like such a shift then. I think you're really...
Yes, but I also think this, because you are so 100% genuine.
Yeah.
I don't think I know anybody who are more... You have sort of come out...
Like, like me agreeing. I'm like, no, I know, I am. What was my first word? Do you remember my first word?
Oh, no, probably. I think you said that when you came out.
No. I don't
not ready, not done my hair yet, need to go back.
That's actually me when I wake up in the morning.
Need to fix my nails before I,
No is my favourite.
I have a little book, I've given you that book where it says what your first word
I think
was.
it was like mama.
Yeah, probably.
I think you did. You said like it was mama.
I hate you, probably.
God, I used that a lot when I was younger.
I had to work hard on that, and I think that I'm proud to say that I never said I hated you, but I used... You do know I love you because you're my child. However, I don't like you very much.
You did.
I used that a lot, didn't I?
You did.
Yeah.
You did. It was a guilt trip. You'd go, I'm not, what you'd say, I'm not angry. I'm just really disappointed. You know what you were doing there, didn't you?
Wow. Desperate times.
Did you always know I'd be a bit of a wild child growing up?
I don't think, as a mother, I don't think you have a clue. You do really not know how I
found it drama queen.
Well, I found it very hard with you during your teens because I couldn't get hold of you.
I think when I was really young, like when I was like before I hit like 12, 13, I was really like sweet and lovely.
You were cute, yes.
Just like I was really like I was quite outdoorish.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed like being outdoors, being a bit like
easy.
tomboy. I was very easy. Like I was very polite to your friends.
Yes, you're really easy.
I didn't kick up a fuss. Like mum and dad would always go and see like their friends and stuff like travel. We'd always drive 2 hours to go and visit people or go on holiday, and I was just easy. I remember it. I was never like unhappy. I kind of just like I would always like, even if we went to, it was boring for me, I'd make it fun for myself.
No, but then you would say, if you got bored, and I didn't catch that until sort of a bit later, that you would say, oh, I'm really hungry now. I'm really hungry now. Or you would say, oh, I don't feel so well. And then eventually I started to understand that was not a real thing. So anyway, so
I do still use that.
But your teens, I really tried to find out who you were. Because I could not get hold of this person because you were too... So that was difficult.
But I don't think I would have been as much of a wild child had it not been for my mental health.
Then again, I didn't think
declining.
That you were so wild child.
Were you wild growing up?
I wasn't wild, but I wasn't.
She had her nights. Do you remember anything that I did that was really mischievous as a kid? Like, do you remember anything that you were like, oh my God, I cannot believe she's done this?
No, I mean, you were more sort of that it was the same things. It was this sort of never being able to be on time, or all this sort of,
Oh,
I'm sure when I used to come back
late, when I came back late.
Yeah, and I'm sure that you gave a lot of stories that was absolutely nothing to do with the reality and stuff like that.
What do you mean?
No, that you sort of made up stuff if it gained you. You were incredibly...
I was a liar?
Yeah.
Wait, what? With what?
Well, I don't know.
No, tell me.
No, I'm not sure, but I was sort of thinking that...
But in what context? I'm confused.
No, I think that if you, with friends or something, if you were in, sort of...
If I was in the wrong?
A bit, that you would manage...
I'd spin it. Spin it in my favour. Really?
Yeah.
Did you feel like that?
Yeah.
Maybe I was the victim consistently.
No, but you were sort of, it's like with the dog, I cry for 4 years to get a dog, and then I get a dog, and 1 week later it's like, oh, you always take his side. Mommy, I want him to go now because you're on his side.
I remember this. I was jealous of when we got the dog because I thought it was getting too much attention.
I mean, how can you?
I was like, I'm not.
How can you deal with that? Yeah,
like, you're not coming into my
4 years
home and taking my, because I remember a moment where you were like cuddling the dog because he'd done something or whatever. You were like, oh, and you and Dad were like, cuddling him, and I was like sat at the other end of the room like planning this dog's like demise.
Exactly one of those
and then
things.
I remember saying to you, like, send him back. I don't want him anymore.
So that's one of the, I couldn't believe
that was crazy.
moments.
That was nuts for me.
4 years you cried for that dog.
Jealous of a dog, sat there making the evil.
But that makes sense that you never wanted a, sibling.
Yeah, no, I would have hated having a sibling.
Send that back too. Yeah.
How has our relationship grown as I've gotten older? I can already answer this. I mean, we've gotten so much closer.
Yeah,
we get along so well now.
Yeah,
because I'm a real person now. Like,
because I'm such a patient person.
You're also, my mum stopped drinking a few years ago, and it's the best thing ever to happen.
Yeah,
to
that
you.
changed a lot.
That's changed a lot. I drink a lot less as well, which just definitely changed our relationship. It's a lot better.
No, because you didn't used to drink around me.
No, I never drank around you or anything, but I was always hungover when I was around you, and that was.
It took me some while to realize that when you were poorly, because you would say, "Oh, I'm so poorly." Because you never used the word hangover.
No, I never like to use hangover.
No, and that's the thing. So therefore, I thought you were poorly a lot.
Now when I'm sick, it's actually like I can't even use that anymore because it sounds fake.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it's changed a lot for the better.
I think we are. As you say, we're very similar, Charlotte. We're very, very similar personalities, and I don't know. I think
we're so lucky because I speak to.
We are very lucky.
As I've gotten older, I speak to so many people's so many of my friends and stuff about their parents, and some people just have like the worst relationships with their parents, and like, I've always made such an effort with you and Dad, and that's something I'm really proud of. Even like if I was a bit of a nightmare when I came to see you guys, I always made such an effort to come and see you quite regularly. Like, I know people that don't see their parents more than once a year, like twice a year. Like they're like, oh, I have to go see my parents. And then some people that see them all the time and stuff. And I think I'm quite a happy medium with that. Like,
and then I'm a marvelous mother, and
you are a lovely. You're a really good mother. Obviously, there's moments, but the thing is, there's been moments. But I've spoken to you about that. How like there have been moments that have like affected me, and this is the thing. It's not your fault. Like,
no.
you have to remember if you're listening to this or watching this, and you have you're having issues with your parents for a reason of like. They don't understand you or something like that. It's their first time living too. Do you know what I mean? A lot of time, like, you kind of shit on your parents and you're like, oh, fuck you, like, a lot of my friends' parents are divorced and they're like, and it's funny, they'll talk about it now and say, like, when I was young, I was so angry. And now I'm like, thank God they're not together. Like, and thank God they've like both, or, one of them's found someone else, or both of them have found someone else, or they're both, just happy single, whatever. It's, when you're young, you don't understand that your parents are literally just human beings. They're people too, that have literally been like.
But it turns around when you have your own children.
It turns around when we start getting to an age. Like, I'm almost now, but not almost, but I mean, I'm still very young. But like, I'm getting to the age you were when you. Well, I mean, you'd already been married by my age. So now it's when we start hitting your ages, when you had us, or when you got married, that then we start to understand it. Because we're like, oh, okay, like.
But I think that's the point of life. You go through that circle and. You don't understand it when you're young, but when you get older, and I thought about it when you sent this, how upsetting it is when you upset your mother.
Yeah.
And I had the same thing, but now I know how my mum reacted to me doing it to her because I
see myself so much now in you and Dad. Like I have the mega emotional side, which is you, and I do have that side where I'm very like. Let's not talk about that, which is Dad. Like, where I'm like, I think I really struggle with it because I am very emotional because of your, I think, influence on me and things like that. And like, you always very outspoken when I was younger of like, oh, like, if something upset you or something annoyed you, like people knew, you know. But like I also have that side of dad where I don't talk about my feelings sometimes, because I'm like, oh, you know, let's not stir the pot. That dad's so like that. He's like, let's not rock the boat.
Yeah, no, that's that's the one thing with him is that but he's a different generation as such, and he's had his fair share, you know. So yeah.
So this is actually a question for me. So what's the most valuable lesson I've learned from you? I think just kindness. You and dad are like such lovely, kind people. And so I think I've just learned to be, I try to be nice. I mean, I have my moments.
Try harder.
Yeah, right? No, I definitely have my moments. I'm not like, you know, saying I'm the nicest person.
No, you are a very nice person.
But I have lots of like, I think I have good values. I have good values because of you and dad. You and dad are very like, just like quite normal, like just generous, nice people. Like you're considerate of other people's feelings. And I think I try to be very considerate of other people's feelings. I really do.
Yes. No, I know.
I try.
No, I know. And you do well, Charlotte. You do.
What's your favourite thing about each other?
Gee, what is my favourite thing about you? I think again that, you know, I keep coming back. You are so authentic. I love that about you. I mean, we just talked about kindness, and I also think you're a very, very kind person. But I love that you are so you. You know, you don't let anything. It's so brave in a way, and it's so sort of a negative, always been a negative thing on people who has been themselves and that you should conform. And I just love, and I love the way you do it, because you don't do it with anger or with anything.
When I wasn't myself, I was like the most unhappy I've ever been. Now I'm myself. I'm like, thank God. Like,
yes, but you do it with so much humor and so much personality, and so it's so positive.
It's a trauma.
Exactly.
No, but and this is what I comedian talking about it. It was like, there's a point at which like this is why like a lot of like when it's like just people that have had like really good lives and like not a lot has happened to them in terms of like anything traumatic or anything, and like they've kind of just swam through life, they're very good looking or whatever. They're not very funny because they haven't really been through anything.
No, exactly.
Like there is a point in which like so many things happen that you just have to like take the piss.
Yes.
You just have to be able to laugh at it. Like,
but this is the nice thing.
Trauma comes with so much humor.
Yeah.
And it was funny. Like a comedian was talking about how like they were funny because of that.
Yes.
And that's why so many comedians are like so fucked up.
Absolutely.
Because they literally they're just taking the piss out of like they're like themselves and their life. Like it's just like.
And I think that is. I think that's nice because you turn being authentic into a nice thing instead of being angry or
I mean, I had like time where I was like very resentful and very upset and very depressed.
Yeah, but now
and it wasn't cute. Now. It was boring. Everyone was over. Everyone was like, oh, like, she's depressed again. And I just felt like, how corny and played out is this? Like, let me just like, I'm just gonna be funny now. So now
you just
I just like
No, I love that about you. I really do.
Yeah. And about you, what's my favorite thing about you? I would say that you're always there for me. Like whatever happens, apart from when I started doing OnlyFans, you were not there for me.
No, but I wasn't against you.
No, I know. You are always there for me. And like, obviously, you know, there have been moments I think you've been like, oh, was that the right choice? But it's so funny because like, when I think back to doing OnlyFans, like first doing it, I don't regret it because I'm like, honestly, I don't think I would have got any of what I've got right now or any of the stuff that is going on. It was the moment I finally was like, I'm just gonna be me. Fuck it. Like I'm just gonna like the wheels are coming off the train. Like I'm just gonna fucking run it into the ground.
You also needed an excuse to get out of where you were.
I did, yeah. I needed an excuse to get out.
Something had to be
done.
But
I also knew, like I also have always known that if I hadn't made good money, and like after modelling I was making, you know, modelling made incredible money. If I'd just gone to doing a normal job, I would not have been able to live the lifestyle I wanted to live. And OnlyFans was a logical next step, and because it was right there as well, with people were doing it around me and they were telling me how much money you can make from it as well. And it was something that I also like, I grew up watching like I don't even know if you know this. I grew up watching like the Girls of the Playboy Mansion. That was my favourite TV show.
Yeah, I know.
And I'd watch clips on YouTube because it was out in the UK. And I'd watch things like The Simple Life. Like I loved like Paris Hilton. I grew up like loving Holly Madison, Paris Hilton, Pamela Anderson. Those are the people I looked up to when I was younger. I was always going to be a little bit like promiscuous or like, but this is, in that sense.
This is the thing you have to understand, that I grew up in the opposite. So I grew up in a time where women were supposed to take the, so therefore it was hard for me.
But like if you look at the role models like today, that is who they are.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like people like, Tana Mojo or Trisha Paytas, for people watching, like they're people that just don't care to talk about those things, or like are, open with their bodies and, sexually just like take charge. Do you know what I mean? And I grew up with women that that were shamed at the time, but I thought they were great. And I always saw that in like people like Holly Madison and, the Playboy girls and Pamela Anderson. People always looked at them and were like, and I always just be like, I love them and I want to be like them when I'm older, because I always saw what the other people didn't see at the time.
Yeah, well,
do you know what I mean? And but I think it really shaped me to be who I am today. Because if I hadn't done that, then I think people would just be like, she's another boring model. People would never have seen my true personality, because then that was when I started to go on social media and just like chat shit. I was like, I don't care anymore. I don't care what people have to say about me.
But it's interesting that you have now become the person that is doing the Netflix show.
Yeah.
And that is you too. That's authentic you.
That's the thing.
And that is the Norwegian part of you. That is a completely different person than what you said you grew up as, That is a really...
But I wouldn't have felt open enough to talk about the stuff that I talk about on this podcast, or like open enough to like be able to really properly talk to people if I hadn't done something like OnlyFans. If I hadn't actually just been like...
I think that nothing in life is, wasted.
I think everything happens for a reason.
Yes.
How has your parenting style changed as you've gotten older?
Do you know what I find during this whole conversation? I find it hard that those 10 years in my 40s was most of you growing up, your teens and everything. And do you know what? I have such vague memories. I just really...
Yeah, wow. I can remember everything, and you were a shit mom. No, I'm joking.
No, so
it's your fault.
This keeps coming back in the questions that that I keep sort of trying to grasp, but it's not.
Do you know what though? I do remember there was a period of time where I tried to avoid you as much as possible. Like I would just come to my room, like sit in my room, and like.
No, but you did that. I feel that during your teens, but I also feel that. A lot of I don't want to give you the responsibility for how you were as a teenager, because I know that I went through my stuff at the same time, because I was also an older mother. So I feel that the combination of the two made a not particularly nice ride. So, but I think,
honestly, when I think about it, like, God bless Dad, because we were.
Yeah, no, totally.
It was both of us.
But I think that I have got a lot from my mother, which is positive in the way of, even though that she, of course, was a generation. So, talking about things, but she was quite open and she was quite,
that's the thing, you're not that bad. Like Dad's generation was like awful. And it's funny, like I sit with my friends and their parents, like my friends are around 30, and their parents they find it very difficult to be sit and I always say, because they'll sometimes they'll complain to me, but like it's so hard sometimes with my mom or my dad, like because I just can't seem to like get like it's just like you almost want to shake them and be like, just be fucking honest with me, be real with me. But they didn't grow up like that. Like your parents' generation weren't like that with you guys. It wasn't like, let's sit.
Well, my mum was a step further, I think. So I got some of that. But I also think that with your genes is like with you, is that part of you is who I have been around you and how I am, encouraged you to. But also part of it is who you are, we are as personalities. So I don't know. I think that I just changed with the parenthood, as we progressed. I never really. You can't look ahead. You just deal with things sort of every day, and you try to do your best. And and as I say, it's not easy when sometimes you look at this thing and you think, I don't like you at all.
Did you think that?
I did. And then you kind of.
I get that though. I was unlikable.
So there is a lot that comes on with,
because I remember when I was like a teenager and I would go out and you'd go, you need to be back by this time, and I literally
and you didn't give much back. You
I
really
know
didn't.
nothing.
So that was hard. But
I would also ask Dad for more things because Dad was always like a lot nicer. Dad was like good cop and you were bad cop, and I like, if there was something I knew you'd say no to, I was like, Dad. Because then and then you go, Peter, did you tell her she could do that? Go, yeah, I didn't think that was. How do you feel about me being so open about my life online?
Do you know, back to that again, is that a lot of things from the OnlyFans point, and with a lot of things that I felt had sort of done this sort of to me, I have turned around. You have made me become way more accepting, and I do and I really like it. Because I find that, for better or for worse, or for then I love it. I really love that energy that you bring with. I wasn't going to tell you.
Yeah. Shut up, imagine.
No. So the journey has been, it's been things that has hit me as wrong according to how I was brought up, maybe. Yeah. And so the initial reaction has been negative, and also that has been with being open and telling everybody. Yeah. However, letting that sort of not sort of just starting,
Do your friends ever bring anything up that I've like said or done?
My friends are amazing.
Yeah.
And all of them has been around me as sort of that's the thing. I've
never been a bad word. Good friendship group. Like I love many of your friends.
Never a bad word.
That's the thing. I don't think you feel that, like, because I think a lot of people, like married couples that are a bit older, grow up, like a lot of them, especially with money and stuff like that, where it comes like with a reputation. We our family doesn't really have that. Like we're not like very, very wealthy. We're not like, do you know what I mean? So I don't think.
No, but I grew up very, very free of anything like that. My mother came
never cared that I didn't go to university. Do you know what I mean? I think a lot of it, it's like, these parents that are trying so hard.
I didn't even go to college.
Their reputation. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, my parents couldn't have cared less that I didn't go to university.
No.
But like, I think a lot of people grow up with this, like, the parents have an expectation of them, of how things are meant to go and things are meant to be. And, we live in this perfect house with a picket fence and, do you know what I mean? And our kids won't do this. So I think if I'd had parents like that, they would have killed me.
But I also
would not be in contact with my parents.
No.
You know what I mean? So I'm very lucky that I have such accepting.
But I have seen how bad that following those rules, how bad that can influence a human being. So the consequences of living that life, which supposedly is the right way, has had so many bad, had such bad effect on people around me. So therefore, I can't see that the way you present it, by being open and everything out. The only consequence is actually that people, can say negative things back to you.
It's like,
however, you're happy as their lark.
I don't care.
Well,
this is the thing. I don't care what people have to say unless it's, and I always say this, like I actually like have friends that still, they do care. And I think because I've been thrown into the limelight, like I literally didn't have a choice but to have things written about me when I was, when I was younger and things like that. So from a very young age, I was in the press. Like from 18, I was in the Daily Mail, if not younger. I think I grew up with that. And it's so funny. So many of my friends will go, oh my God, like this person said this about you. And I go, okay, and like, I truly don't care. If I don't know people and like they don't have a relevance in my life, like I don't care what they have to say. It doesn't bother me. I'm like, cool. Honestly, if 50 people sat in a room right now and all sat there and said things about me, I think even in front of my face, if I don't know them, I don't care. Like it would not hurt my feelings. It would not affect me. If it was my friends that I'd heard had said things about me, or if it was you or if my family and things like that, that's when I'd be really upset.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that would bother me.
But it's kind of interesting though, because it is when you go into the whole sort of yoga or, all of that holistic and all of that kind of environment of what they do say is that our purpose on earth is to make ourselves happy.
Yeah.
You know, and actually what you just said now is that why we are unhappy is because
I'm very lucky to have that.
Yes, you are.
Almost to have I feel like I'm free from the shackles of
of
judgment. I just I think because for so long I'm so upset by things that were posted about me, like pictures that were posted of me that were unflattering, that I hated, and then it just after a while I was just like, well, another one bites the dust. You know what I mean? There's a picture of me leaving a fashion week party in September, and I fell over in these marked. To be fair, those shoes are lethal. I weren't even that drunk. It was these big platform shoes on cobbled streets in London, and I fell over, and on my bum, the skirt I was wearing says "less is more," and I fell over. So there's a picture of me with my bum just hanging out. It's just less is more. And I just saw that, and I just thought, you know what? I think that's funny. I don't care. I was like, cool. And my friends, oh my God, have you seen? And I was like, yeah.
But also, and this is another thing, when you talk about what I like about you or whatever, you are one of the funniest people I know.
I am. I'm funny.
You really are one of the funniest people I know.
Yeah, that is because I've just so much shit has happened now that it's almost funny. I feel like I'm in a sitcom. There's a sitcom about my life somewhere. It's a puppet controlling all these, and it's just dropping in these funny storylines. It's like you'll get dumped, you'll get that's gonna happen to you. I'm like, all right, this is lovely. What's something you've always wanted to tell me but you've never had the chance?
I'll tell you everything, Charlotte. What have I never...
No, but something that you've always wanted to say to me, maybe, or
Yeah, but again, I said it all. I said,
boring.
Well, what do you want me to say?
No!
I told you how much I love you, how proud I am of you, and I don't... But I don't hold back, Charlotte. I do... Yeah. It's all... It's out there, and I don't think that I ever held anything back with you. And we've spoken about, like with the OnlyFans, but I think that we are very good at, if there is anything that we talk about, and I think that we can explain.
It's taken me a long time to be able to be as honest as I am with you, because I think for a long time I was very good at pretending like I was very honest with you and I wasn't. No. And now I'm actually quite good at being quiet.
No, I never pretended.
Yeah, you didn't. I did. But there was just so many, it's just hard, mother-daughter relationships or any parent relationship, because it's how much can I tell you without it being you know what I mean? There are so many things that you don't know.
No, but I think that's healthy. I think that you have to be careful. I tell
there are things that I tell. I was speaking to this guy the other day. Right? How weird is this? Not a guy I was dating, just a guy that I met out when I was out for my birthday. We just chat. We were just chatting in a group, chatting about all these random things, and then we just started talking about family and stuff. And he was like, "Oh yeah, my mum has my location." He's 30 something, by the way. No, I tell my mum everything. I was like, sexually and stuff. Yeah, tell my mum everything. That's weird. I'm sorry, that's too much. Your mum is not your friend. As much as they are, I love you and you're my best friend in the world. I just wouldn't sit and gossip with you like I would with my friends.
No, but I don't think that is sort of.
Also, having location is crazy work. That's nuts. Imagine if you had my location. You would be like, this bitch needs to be fucking put away.
No, I think it's very important that the relationship between a mother and daughter is exactly that.
Yeah.
You're not my friend. I mean, you
are my enemy. Yes.
No, but you see what I mean? I have a group of friends. We talk about things on a complete... I have,
but I also, there are so many things that I also don't want you to tell me.
No,
do you know what I mean?
Of course.
Do you know what I mean? About your relationship with dad, about do you know what I mean? There are certain things that I just don't really need to know.
Well, you told me a lot that I don't really need to know.
Well,
how
there's a lot out there in the press actually that you probably don't need to know, but here we are.
Anyway, no, I think that's a good thing. I think we should keep it like that. It's no reason why we should know everything about it. Yeah. That's not natural in a parent-child situation, I think.
Exactly. No, I think it's bizarre. I think it's just weird.
Certain thing is absolutely irrelevant for me.
Exactly. You know what I mean? There are so many things that I just think, why would I tell you that? Why would I?
Absolutely.
You also wouldn't find half of my shit funny. You would the things that me and my friends will giggle and laugh about. You wouldn't find that funny.
No.
You'd be like, hey.
Well, that's just the way it is. Yeah.
Exactly.
And you will find that when you have a husband.
No, I won't trust him.
No.
Oh, no.
No, but you will find that
he's not knowing a
you have
single
sort of what you talk to him about. And
Yeah.
I have my friends, which I talk about other things. I think
You're
my
gonna
friends
be
is
so
probably
involved though when I like get married and have kids. So
husband
my
and
mum's
a
already
child.
told me that she's going to be living pretty much next door in an annex.
The more time you spend with your mother, the longer she lives. So I'm going to live next
get rid of you
door.
quickly.
I'm going to live next door.
Yeah.
Yes, you're gonna.
No, honestly,
Nanny
it's so
guy,
funny. Like
nanny
you're
acts.
100% well. Like when I'm, like married with kids, you 100% will like live close to me. I want you near me, but not next door. No. Maybe in the same village or something. Right, let's talk about love. Let's talk about love. What's the best relationship advice you've ever given me? I don't think I've never taken a single piece of advice you've given me.
No,
I don't think I've ever taken a single piece.
It might have. So I have this theory that if I repeated something, and you would be annoyed with me because I repeated things, but that is parenting.
Yeah.
Even if you hate, I know that you hate hearing it. If you hear it enough times, it will lodge.
I don't think you've actually like really given me any. I think you've just been like, no, he's not for you.
No, but I think, I think
I love him.
Actually, I think that we have, to a certain extent, gone through that sort of respect thingy that, that never, ever, ever accept anything, that make sure that the person that you want to end up with respect you.
Yeah,
because
that's a basic. That's like basic.
It is basic, but it is
like
very, very many
minimum,
relationships
really,
that is lacking that. And I think never,
Oh, wait, the second question is funny. Have I ever introduced you to someone I was dating that you didn't like? Every single one of them.
Should I go in?
Yeah, do we have all day? I don't think you've liked really any of them. Apart from my last ex-boyfriend, you didn't you liked him, didn't you? Yeah, you did. But like apart from that, you didn't like any of them, I don't think.
Well, I don't think I didn't really get to know any of them that well.
But also, like, they've not really been that many serious ones.
No, it hasn't.
Yeah. Do I have a type when it comes to dating?
You did.
Mentally unhinged. Garbage rat.
Well, you said it, so that's fine.
That's it.
But I'm hoping that you are sort of gradually working your way away.
Oh, I definitely am. I think I've definitely my last ex, I think, was the step in the right direction. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Oh my God, this is a good one. Because how do you feel when I'm heartbroken? Because I feel like you can feel it.
Oh.
Because me and my mum always talk about this, how you feel when I'm not okay, my mum can feel it.
Yeah.
So like you'll text me when I'm going through it a bit and you'll go, oh, how are you today? Like you call me more on the day, like, you can feel that there's something.
But you have to also, I would love to take the whole credit for that, but it's not just that, but it is also that you're absent from your social media or things like that. So I know something is not quite good, but sometimes I can feel, that in that sort of context that I think, oh, she hasn't really posted anything. She's, and.
I don't think I've been through a major heartbreak though, like for a minute. Like with Evan, I was upset, but I wasn't really like proper heartbroken, I don't think.
No.
Like I've had days where...
No, but you have been,
my first boyfriend though, oh my God, do you remember? Absolute hell. I was so heartbroken over my first boyfriend. So heartbroken.
But everybody has that first boyfriend.
Yeah, that
is real hard. I
and
had
then Alex
when I was 14
really
when I had it. But anyway, no, yes, I fall apart when you are in pain. It's nothing worse than when you're in pain.
Okay, I've got funny ones now. If we had to swap lives for a day, what would you find the hardest thing about being me? My dress sense. You would hate that.
I would.
You would hate that.
I would.
Like my pink fluffy tops with the little lace and the little bows.
That wouldn't work with me at all.
No,
that's true.
That's where we have sometimes and sometimes we'll be in my wardrobe and you'll be like, oh my God, I love this. Like there's certain outfits that you're like, I love that. That's so cute. And then some you're like.
And I also think that it would drive me. I'm much more organised.
Oh yeah, no, that is what would annoy you the most.
It would drive me crazy to be consequently sort of always late. Always, because I'm always not late.
Yeah, that's how we're really
never
different.
late.
Yeah.
Never late.
So disorganised and late.
Yeah, that would drive me mad.
But you could change that if you were me and my body. Do you know what I mean? You could be more organised and less late. Who is your celebrity crush?
My celebrity crush?
cue the name that no one knows.
Oh, no. But I mean, well, you know, if you go really long back when I was a kid, oh, God, I was obsessed with Cat Stevens.
Did you have posters of him on your wall?
I did.
Did you?
I did.
Did you kiss them?
I don't think I did that, actually.
No,
I don't think I was quite that.
Were there any others?
I don't really get sort of crushes as such. But I think that for me to have a crush on somebody, not desperately, but I do need to kind of know them, because the personality has such influence in me having a crush.
Do you know what? That's so crazy, because I'm actually really similar.
Yeah.
Like, personality for me, like, I need the personality.
Exactly.
Otherwise, it doesn't matter.
The look doesn't really do it.
Yeah, I can't like fall in love with a like. Do you know what I mean? I can't have that deep of a like. And it's so funny, because I've had boyfriends where it's been like, well, guys that I've been dating, whatever, where I've like met them and it's not been anything. Like, I've not really been like, you know, like, and then as more I've got to know them, the more I'm like, wow, your personality is
well, this is the thing. And I don't think that I never really had very handsome boyfriends, because I never fell for the look.
Yeah.
So, so I don't really.
What's your favourite memory that we've shared together?
Favourite memory? We have some lovely times in Norway. That's
also
special.
I think we went to Bali together.
Oh,
that was great. That was really special.
Yeah, that is true.
That was a bit of a once in a lifetime.
Yeah, I think that's probably,
actually.
You're right there, because it was just the two. Yeah, it was just the two of us. That was special.
Yeah,
that was special.
And we had a really nice time.
Yeah,
we went and stayed in that place in the jungle, and yeah, it was just lovely. That was nice. If we wrote a book together, what would the title be? We call it Car Crash. Yeah. All right, so now we're on to the segment which is called Bedtime Stories. It's my favourite segment.
Oh.
And it's basically where we give people advice. People write in and then we give them advice, basically.
Yeah, okay.
I'm dating a 24-year-old who still gets his washing picked up and delivered every Sunday by his mum. When I suggested it's time for him to start doing his own laundry, he turned around and asked me to do it for him. Man. Am I crazy for expecting a grown man to take care of his own washing? Honestly, you might be, because grown-ass men these days, that's what we're dealing with, Mum. That's what we're dealing with.
From sort of age-wise, my point of view, and no. It's just a no.
It's just a no.
Absolutely. It's just.
What's your advice to her?
Why do you even, the fact that she even asks the question, she already knows.
Yeah.
If you ask that question, you already know that this situation is absolutely sort of way off where you want to be.
Yeah, so true.
So so absolutely goodbye.
Get rid of him.
Bye.
Hey guys, I recently went on one of my favourite dates I've been on in a year. I really got on with the guy and we laughed for hours. However, when I got home, I got a notification that he had Monzo requested me for half the bill. This is the app.
Oh.
An app, so it's like a banking app. So he'd gone and requested her for half the money. It wasn't expensive, but I felt really offended. I feel conflicted as I've had such a nice date, but I also felt this was a bit rude of him. What do you think? That's fucking weird.
No, but I find the whole thing is, how was the setup? Did they have an agreement or anything?
No.
So they went on holiday together? No, sorry.
They went on a date together. And then they had a really nice time. And then at the end, I guess he paid. I really got like, well, yeah. So yeah, and then he requested her half of the bill when he got home. Nah. Get rid. Get rid. That's weird. Don't pay. Yeah.
Don't pay.
I've started dating this guy who has a palate of a 6-year-old, ketchup on everything, orders off the kids' menu at nice restaurants, and literally only eats chicken nuggets and fries at home. I can't tell if this is just a quirky trait or a massive red flag. Am I overthinking this, or is this something I should be worried about long term?
Yeah, just like with the first one.
Yeah, just like with the first one. That's scary. Scary. Do you want to be making dinosaur nuggets for the rest of your life?
Well, it's quite
with the potato faces.
It's easy when they have toddlers, because then you can
then you don't have to make
eat the same thing, you see.
Yeah.
So you don't have to make different things.
Yeah, but then you have to make one meal for yourself.
But, beside that little
I think get rid.
Oh my.
Absolutely get rid. All of these. Do you know what? Whenever I get bedtime stories, so funny, because every single one of them, I'm like, get rid of him. Get rid of him. Get rid.
If you
have to ask the question, it's so right. If you even have to go and ask,
if it's in there,
do you think this is weird? If you are asking people if they think it's weird,
you think it's weird.
Then
exactly.
All right. Well, I think that concludes our today's episode. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
I know. I think I want you on again, because I think this has been fun.
Yeah, I'll come again.
Maybe
for
the right price.
I can move in. No, you're going to pay me. You said you said you were going to pay me.
Oh yeah, about that. Thank you so much, Rami, and keep liking, subscribing, and watching. Thank you so much, and I'll speak to you guys next week.